Fisherman, and welcome to another fishing video.
Hello and welcome to another video today in association with Carp magazines. Today you join me back here on the syndicate again after Bream. Now there are rumoured to be a few Bream in here, so I thought, well, I might as well give it a go. One of which is rumoured to be over £10, so that's the fish I'm after obviously. I'll take you through the tactics and the bait and things a little bit later, but you never know, we might catch one. Right, see you later. Right, now in an attempt to get this Bream, I'm using two methods. The first I'm using is just a standard leaded bulk rig, which I'm just using a small halibut pellet on. And the second rig is a method feeder. And on that I'm turning a single grain of maize. That's due to the amount of particle I'm putting out today for them. Now, on the method feeder, this is just a simple mix that I'm using. It's just a mixture of the ocean protein ground bait and a little bit of brown crumb from Vision Baits in there. See if you can see that. Real fishy mix. Got a fish meal base mix to it, and that's really what you want to be doing when looking for ground baits for Bream. Look for that fish meal base mix. I love it. Then to add to that, I'm just using some of the super soaked green lip mussel. Again, really fishy flavour from Vision. Stinks, really stinks, and flavoured that ground bait nicely. Just as a little extra to add to the ground bait, again to add more of that fish meal base to it, I've just added some crushed trout pellets. There's in the 4mm variety. Also put some whole ones in there just to get the fish rooting around, picking out different size bits of bait. 4mm trout pellets and Vision and Reflex pellets. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And for the particle I'm putting out, would you have a look at this? Same bait I was using to pre-bait the river last year, and there will be again this year. Some of this is just the excellent and cheap pigeon conditioner mix. Oh, poured a bit out there. That's the excellent pigeon conditioner mix, full of maize, wheat, maize, wheat, chickpeas. There's some beans in there, some other peas. Obviously you have to prepare this well, and I prepared this yesterday at home. When preparing it, I like to go over a series of boiling and soaking stages. I'll soak it, boil it and soak it again, and just that just makes sure that I'm 100% sure that this particle is suitable for the fish to eat. I also put a bit of hemp in there. I also put some more maize in there because I was using maize as a hook bait. I wanted the fish to really get on the maize and know that it's safe to eat. But I've got a load of this left over, so I'm going to bait up the swim just after I leave, because I'm going to be on here again next week. It's currently Easter holidays at the moment, so I've got the luxury of being able to do that and come on here in the week when there's less people here. So I'll bait up the spot in the margin again for next week when I come back. But really cheap mixes and a really good mix. Last year when I was pre-baiting the river, the amount of Bream you'd see over this was phenomenal. It's given me so much confidence in using particle. In here the fish haven't seen particles, so they're really wary of it. But you know, I feel with persistence they're going to get on it, and I'm sure it's going to be a winner. But anyway, that's the bait. Just try and put a bit more out and see if we can catch a fish. Right, at last we're into a fish. Just took a margin rod. On these light rods I really put up a bit of a scrap. This fish is really boring at the moment. That deeper water. Just sitting there like a dead weight now. It's just gone past that shelf.
But they go nicer than light rods, don't they?
Well, would you believe it? I've come down here for a 48-hour session on the off chance half the bream margin rod ripped off my first 32 pounds. Oh, look at that. Go on, no, don't do this again. My same fish as my previous PB. Absolutely over the moon to catch that fish. Look at that, look at the, I can get him out of it, just look at the width across those shoulders. I can't lift him up, he's that heavy. God. Give him
Well done, mate.
Look at that, what an absolute belter. But just absolutely chuffed with that, 32 pounds. Can barely lift him. What a stunner. It took ages to get in on my light specimen rods, but shows you should never neglect your margins. I wasn't even going to do that. Brilliant stuff. Right, let's get a few snaps and put them back. There we go, look at that. What an absolute plonker. Been longing for a 30 for so long. My target done.
Well done, mate.
Thank you. Fantastic. Now that's what I call a session. Right, let's hopefully just see her go back. Move it that way. She's going. Off she goes. Back to the deep. Well, it's the morning after the night before, and as you saw, I had that lovely fish. 32 pounds and a new PB. Absolutely chuffed with that. My mate just came round on the water and I was explaining to him about how it was fishing, etc, etc. And he said, oh, why don't you try the margins? I thought, fair enough. Gave it a quick go and was, within 10 minutes of doing it, the rod went off. So, all about trying new things sometimes, and that just shows you never neglect your margins. I thought it's much too cold for the margins, we're getting into minus figures still at night, so fish aren't going to be in 5 foot of water, but they certainly were. So yeah, just woken up now to a beautiful morning, lake's flat calm, lovely sunrise, nice warm morning. Just stunning, this is what fishing's about. I have my target now, and now it's just lovely just to be here. It's taken quite a while to catch that fish. I mean, as I said, it's now, we've just had the last night, so I've been here for 2 days already. It's just now the 3rd day of the 48-hour session. And in some ways it's nice to have to wait a long time to catch the fish because it means more, especially when you have a fish of that size. It was one of my targets when I first joined here, initially a couple of years ago, so absolutely chuffed with that. Funny thing is though, that fish I caught, which is my new PB, was exactly the same fish I caught for my old PB at 27 pounds. So that fish is put on about, how much is that? That is £5. So within a year that fish is putting £5 of weight, which is in my mind quite a lot for a fish to be putting on. So there's been a fair bit of bait going in here, but I'm not complaining. £32, new PB, fantastic, so absolutely chuffed. Just going to put the kettle on now, have a cup of tea and a bit of breakfast. I think I'm going to start looking at going home, but sun's just coming up now and I think fish hopefully, and then I start getting back into the margins now as I haven't had anything during the night. I'm hoping this warm weather will get the fish back up in the margins and feeding. Anyway, that's the idea. Let's see if that works. I tell you what, I love this margin fishing. Just a handful of bait, just where I'm fishing, just on the first marginal shelf. Literally just on the edge of the marginal shelf, just where it starts dropping. Place the rod on there, a handful of bait around it, Bob's your uncle. Nothing like what I was doing the other day, casting out in the middle, desperately trying to get a particle and pet it all around it, which was quite a mean feat actually. So, again, simple is the key. You know, I'm often one for trying simple things. Just today I thought, you know what, I'll try something a bit more complicated. Didn't really need to, did I? Oh well, that's fishing, isn't it? But the sun's coming up now. You know, they're going to start patrolling the marginal spots more during the day than they will during the night because of the warm weather. We'll get them up in the upper layers. So we're hoping now that rod might just tear off again. Let's just see, eh? Right, we're in again. Margin rod yet again. Absolutely screamed off. Clutch is ripping fish again as well. Don't think it's a really huge fish this time, but it's going off. Got it in the margin now. See if we can get it up for you. Winding of the line. Well, there we go. Second fish now. Third, last day. £16, a small one this time, but after a 48-hour blank, don't do that, weekend previous, it's nice to have a couple of fish in a session. What an absolutely lovely fish. Stunner with those colours. Absolutely stunner. Chuffed to catch that for incredibly hard on a little specimen rod again. Yeah, again in the margins, eh? What a result. Right, let's put this one back. Brilliant stuff. Well, as you just saw, I just had another fish, £16, and got a really lovely scrap on those light specimen rods of mine. Absolutely fantastic. Just, again, taking off the marginal swim. And I'll tell you what I have found quite amusing about both of these fish is that I sat here for 48 hours and then they've both come within the last, you know, few hours of the session. Admittedly, the other one, the 30, did come last night, but when you look at the session as a whole, it's come at the end of the session rather than throughout it. But oh well, still had a couple of fish, and that's really what matters, isn't it? And actually, another thing I found quite amusing about it is that they've both come on a really simple old style KD rig. It's on a curved shank hook. I couldn't believe it, but I suppose I've been neglecting that rig recently because I haven't really been that confident in it. I'm thinking the fish are wising up to rigs, so I've got to get riggy, and you know, sometimes it's those old-fashioned rigs that really get them, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's what we have confidence in, and I've caught a lot of fish in those good old-fashioned KD rigs, so I might as well stick with it, really. But yeah, really interesting. So they both come on that good old-fashioned rig, but 5-inch long, only a 5-inch long hair rig. And I'm just really happy to have caught those fish. Here for another 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to be here till about 4 o'clock. It's now getting on for 12. So I'm going to be here for another 4 or 5 hours. I've just rebaited that marginal spot again, and hopefully that rod's going to rip off one last time. I wouldn't mind a 20 this session, but I can't really complain. Again, I had 30 and a 16. Never had a 16 out of here. And I've never had a 30. I've never had a 30 out of here. So. Brilliant, 2 things done, and one of my targets for this year ticked off already at 30-pounder. Absolutely can't believe it. come down here bream fishing and think, oh, might as well put a marginal rod out, and bam, 30-pound fish. Incredible. Those fish are there, you just don't know it, do you? You know, you're casting out middle of the lake and the fish are up down by your feet. But like I've always said on quite a lot of my videos, and like quite a few people will say, don't neglect the margins. I'm afraid to say, throughout most of the session I definitely did neglect the margins. But I'm glad I'm on them again now. I'm going to be back here next week. Let's just hope we can get a few more fish either in this session or next week. But either way, really enjoyed myself. Been a fantastic session. Just nice to get out, as it always is. You know, fish are secondary, but those two fish made the session now. And like I said, when I was holding the fish, I blanked recently on here. I did a weekend 48 hour and I blanked. First ever 48 hour blank. But you know, it's just nice to get a few out at last. And as I always say, when you blank, quite often it, teaches you to try things differently or try different rigs and things like that. Blanks, you can't always look at a blank as a bad thing. Quite often they're good. You know, they'll make you realise all these rigs aren't working and I shouldn't fish there next time. I shouldn't use that bait or whatever. You know, they're really quite often, in my mind, I see them as a useful thing. You know, they'll help me decide where to fish and what baits and rigs to use next time. So yeah, like I said, blanked last time, caught this time. That's what it's all about, isn't it? That's fishing. Well, it's come to the end of the session now, and you know what, I've had a brilliant session. 2 fish, a 32 and a 16. You know, I love catching all the fish out here, but I've been wanting a 30 for a long time, and I'm just really glad I've had it. No bream, but that's the way it goes. I think I may have explained that there's only 3 in here, so it's never going to be an easy challenge, but back here next week, let's see if we can get one of those slabs. But like I said, fantastic session, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I have being here. Anyway, I'll see you next time, and tight lines.